Welcome back, guys. This is Margin Bear. We're just going to go over some news that we've seen today. Let me know what you guys think.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. We have a lot to tell you about later in the show. Big announcement. But first, celebrating, not denigrating, that's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, this is the start of week 6 of President Trump's second term, and the best way to describe the policy so far, unabashedly pro-American.
We got one badass president now who's going to come in and going to take care of this border.
The fundamental goal is
and people
we
are pissed.
want your children and grandchildren to be able to raise a family in security and comfort in the country that we all love.
He gave us a clear directive, make America safe. And that's what we're going to do.
We're at a level, I don't think we've been at this level maybe ever as the Republican Party. We're a bigger, better, stronger party than ever before.
It doesn't even feel like a Republican
More people
party.
in our party than ever before. But the people have given us a resounding mandate for dramatic change in Washington, and we are going to deliver it. We're going to use it, and we're going to make America great again by using it.
And he got a resounding reception at CPAC over the weekend. And our friend and pollster, Mark Penn, he released a big survey today showing that by a 58-42 margin, voters believe Trump is doing a better job than Biden. Now, overall, Trump's job approval is at 52, but his two major domestic policies, the border and cutting waste, are extremely popular. Ditto for Trump's emphasis on merit over DEI and hiring. But what's the Democrats' agenda? Well, resisting and repeating their same old tired lines.
They feed everybody this bullshit to get your mind off of what they're doing. Look how much fraud has been going on with this government before Trump came in and brought in Elon Musk. They're finding all kinds of shit that people ain't even fucking realized yet.
He's modeling everything upon this autocratic, authoritarian, dictatorial, king-like presence that he wants to play.
See, this is the kind of stuff that they do. They tell you what they want you to know when a lot of people don't even do the research and try to figure it out. This guy is one of those people, and I guarantee this motherfucker is probably one of the guys on the Epstein list.
Inside of our government.
There's been one through line with Donald Trump. It has been his willingness to do Vladimir Putin's bidding.
He's going after
doing the bidding. He's trying to end the fucking war, something Biden could not even attempt to do. He was too fucking lazy, sleeping all the time, taking vacations. Since Trump's been in office, he has done so much. I would say that he's done more since Biden's been in office for 4 years.
Critical jobs to save pennies in order to give himself more room to give big tax cuts to the wealthiest Americans and the wealthiest.
So that's what they got. That's it. That's what they got. I haven't heard any of that stuff before. Now, while a majority of voters don't agree with Trump on every policy, what's key is that they do feel much more optimistic about America and the economy. It was in the low 30s, remember, for years. And while Congress remains underwater, the Democrats are in real...
And look where the polls are coming from. Harvard. Mostly fucking Democratic-sided.
Real trouble.
I think you're seeing a retrospective assessment of Biden and the direction the Democratic Party was going. It really a lot more negative than it was on Election Day. And they're looking at the contrast on immigration, on economic policy, on some of the social policies. And boy, they're reevaluating. In the Democratic Party, I have never seen anything like this. This is a record low for the Democratic Party in terms of favorability. It has fallen really, really way down. And I don't think there's any leadership right now that's going to be able to bring that back.
Now, how do you resurrect your party, though? By protecting red tape and the bureaucracy, by trying to gin up sympathy for federal workers who need to get real jobs in the real world like most of America. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, they're getting pissed off because they are fucking scared to lose their job. But when every other fucking American's losing their job over bullshit, they don't give a fuck. So why should we give a fuck? Fuck them.
Now, do Democrats really think that Americans will stop liking Trump because he fires these people?
Hell no.
I felt absolutely infuriated.
I can already tell you this kind of motherfucker, man. I can already say it. Let's hear what she's got to say.
Infuriated. Getting this email with a demand within 48 hours to provide a response on what I did within the last week or face termination.
If you're working a job, don't you have to provide the proof of your work that you're doing weekly, daily, hourly, a lot of fucking times? And these people ain't done shit. You could tell she ain't done shit. She's probably out protesting, doing dumb shit that she ain't supposed to be doing. And then she's here on CNN talking shit about Trump to these people that are paid by the people that own the fucking broadcast company, telling these people what to ask these dumbass people. It is fucking crazy. And she's in San Francisco. Your fucking city is fucking out there. That's your own fucking fault. If you ain't fucking working, get the fuck out. You're fired. That's what would happen in the real world.
This is clearly an attempt from Elon Musk to harass and bully and intimidate the federal.
Yeah, fucking average ass motherfucker calling out bullying shit when the truth gets told to them. Get the fuck out of here.
Workforce, which is part of his broader plan.
Look at this. What did you do last week? That don't even look like it came from HR. It looks like they fucking edited the shit out. At fucking 4:54 in the afternoon. What, right before everybody got off work? Get the fuck out of here. Please reply to this email approximately 5 bullets of what you've accomplished last week and CC your manager. I guess if you ain't done shit, your ass go lose your job. Shit, what do you think a job is? You gotta work. If you can't supply the work that you've been doing, then you ain't been fucking working, and guess what? Your ass gets terminated. Promoted to customer, bitch. Please do not send any classified information, links, or attachment. Deadline is Monday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, you better fucking have your shit ready, people, because y'all's ass is gonna get fired.
Plan to gut the federal workforce and privatize public sector services.
Now, making a list.
The thing is you shouldn't have a problem with fucking sending a list of what you've done. I can guarantee I could send my boss all kinds of shit before tomorrow morning. I don't need a whole fucking week to send them anything.
Of what you accomplished in a week, that's what she was whining about, is harassment and bullying? Of course, because that requires, what, 15 minutes of work?
Exactly.
Now, these are the same types who think
unless you just don't remember
them
shit
to return to the office where they haven't been, oftentimes for 4 years. That basically amounts to a hate crime.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
It's fucking
because
amazing.
We have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the.
So let me ask you guys, if you don't show up to work, what the fuck happens after 2 or 3 days? Your ass is gone. Gone.
Government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? What they're doing is they're trying to find out who's working for the government.
Who's working for themselves.
Other people that aren't working.
With the help of zero.
And, where's all that? Where's the money gone?
Now, not only is that not unfair to insist on accountability and fiscal sanity in government, but it's also deeply patriotic. Because Trump and his team are showing their love for America. Just like moms and dads try to stick to a budget, they try to save money, try to make money for their family. Trump wants the same for America at every level. But
well, he's also a businessman, and businessmen, if you ain't doing the fucking work, they're gonna fucking fire you. This is the most iconic motherfucker for firing people that there ever has been. What in the fuck do you expect?
Has done for decades has been deeply unpatriotic. Printing, borrowing, and spending money like there's no tomorrow. Never changing course. The result ultimately being, if they kept going the way they were going, a total collapse of the American system. That's what Elon Musk has been talking about. But Trump and his team, they celebrate America by embracing sweeping reforms.
The dark days of high taxes, crushing regulations, rampant inflation, flagrant corruption.
He knows what he's talking about.
Government weaponization and total incompetence. Those days are over. They're over.
The first time he got in office, he didn't know what the fuck was going on. Nobody really knows what's going on unless they're already established with the people that has already been doing it. But now, that he's been there and they screwed his ass over, this dude's fucking pissed off. And he's like, okay, not only am I going to fucking get a second term, but I'm going to go down as the greatest motherfucking president in history. And y'all fucking pissed this guy off. So.
But we cannot stop now. We're going to push forward every single day. In the immortal words of that great American hero, Captain John Paul Jones, I have not yet begun to fight.
Exactly.
Now the place went totally crazy at CPAC. And I thought to myself, no wonder so many young people, and I know it's mostly young men, but young women too. His numbers are up among young women. But they're excited about Trump. Think about this. This generation, the younger generation, has heard for years that America is systemically racist. They were told repeatedly to check their privilege at the door and to feel even guilty about their success. Guilty about.
I would really like to know where the fuck my privilege is. No, I'm just saying. I'm just fucking saying. Because my skin has not gotten me fucking nowhere.
Their background. How boring and depressing that message is. But Trump, he's always the candidate that always knew that America deserved and even wanted more.
I will convene a White House task force called Salute to America 250. It will be responsible for coordinating with state and local governments to ensure not just one day of celebration, but an entire year of festivities across the nation to create the Great American State Fair, a unique one-year exhibition featuring pavilions from all 50 states.
It's going to be fabulous, the 250th anniversary, now that Trump is president. Imagine under Kamala Harris, that would have been a depressing event. Now, look, there are plenty of challenges ahead, including inflation, which Trump has to tackle and tackle very smartly. And he's given us, though, a profound opportunity to reset and revive our national spirit, and he's well on his way. And by the way, don't listen to the left. This is not mindless patriotism. It's how a nation survives and thrives.
This shit is going to be going down, y'all. Let's see if we can find another one. All right, we got another one, y'all. We got another one.
And thousands of federal government workers have been let go in the first month of Trump's return to the White House, leading to protests across the country.
Workers fighting back for our research. These people don't even look like they want to work. They out here fucking protesting. They need to be fucking fired for fucking not doing shit. I guarantee they're still getting paid.
Now, the White House is saying that it wants to slash 10% of the federal workforce. That is some 240,000 government jobs all told. Now, Trump and Elon Musk.
Hey, my fucking job laid off fucking 17,000 people and fuck. Shit, nobody gave a fuck about that.
Musk, who is in charge of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, are defending those cuts.
If the will of the president is not implemented, and the president is representative of the people, that means the will of the people is not being implemented. And that means we don't live in a democracy, we live in a bureaucracy. And so I think what we're seeing here is the thrashing of the bureaucracy as we try to restore democracy and the will of the people.
The bureaucracy goes beyond Washington, D.C. 80% of federal workers live outside of the Washington area. And joining us now is Nate Vince and Katie Sandler.
A lot of places are.
Until last week, Nate.
A lot of states have right to work. So that means your ass can be fired for anything. So what makes these people that are getting fired for not working any fucking different than the people that are in right to work states that can be fired for any reason?
National Institute of Health. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Nate, I want to start with you. As I understand it, you were like the sole locksmith for the entire Yosemite Park, right? What does that entail?
Yosemite has roughly 1,000 structures, historic and non-historic structures, 300 plus houses that people live in, roughly the size of Rhode Island. All of those buildings are public property and are cultural resources for the public and are protected by locks, various locks in different forms. Day to day, I keep those locks working and keep them functioning so that the people in the park, the emergency services, utilities, facilities, interpretation division, all those people can do their job. And then day to day, I maintain the records of all those key controls and all the records for the park.
Well, as you see, this guy will not be fired because he can say exactly what he does and what he does. So this dude, you don't have shit to worry about. Now, the other people that are fucking terrified know that they haven't been doing shit, and some of them working other jobs, and that's what they're worried about, because if that ass gets caught, you are screwed. And your tax record will show if you're working another job.
What kind of impact is
fraud
going to have on the park as like the keeper of the keys there?
Well, the previous locksmith is just retired after 24 years. I've apprenticed under him for 4 years, learning the trade and learning the specific quirks of Yosemite National Park and living out here in the woods. I've decided to commit my life here after 4 years of seasonal work and just got a permanent job. Though I was let go on Friday, just 3 weeks shy of my probationary period, which is just a trial period for new permanent employees. So in 3 weeks, I would have been a civil servant and hopefully would have, or potentially cut my job.
Hold on. So wait, so that's the 2 year probationary period, and
1 year, 1 year,
or 1 year probationary period, and yet you were learning under this apprenticeship. For,
this
for
other
4
lady
years,
looks
right?
pissed.
They were seasonal. So with the government, I work seasonally. So it's 4 years, but 6 months seasons. And then I'm eligible to apply for a permanent job, which I wanted and applied for. And during that probation period of fulfilling the job, I fulfilled 49 of my 52 weeks in my probation period, getting star awards and getting accolades for how happy everyone is with my service.
Then why did you get fired?
Without me, I competed nationally for the job, beat other people out. And without me, there's a lot of knowledge that's lost. There's a lot of property that is at risk, and a lot of people that are still here in the park doing jobs will be handicapped because eventually locks will break and eventually keys will be needed.
You just cut the locks and get new ones.
To go into there. Katie, I know you were let go on Saturday. I do want to ask,
let's see what she done.
How did these firings happen? Like, what was the process? How did you find out?
I was actually treated really well compared to some of my colleagues that I heard from. My boss and boss's boss actually reached out to me because my boss was out of town, and they called me together and, gave me a heads up because they wanted to let me know, because they were pretty sure that the letter from HHS that I would get, the termination email, would probably be pretty harsh, and they wanted to give me a heads up and reassured me that nothing in that letter was true. And my boss actually cried on the phone. She said she felt so guilty recruiting me or getting me to, talking me into coming here. I just moved here from Alabama. It took on a significant amount of debt to do so. And I had only been there for a month. And then, of course, I was terminated.
So you relocated your entire life for this job?
Yes.
So she's only had the job a month?
I was, working at the National Institutes of Health. I mean, in my field, that's as good as it gets, and I actually sent the recruiter an email and said, this is probably the only job on the planet that would pull me away from warm winters in the South and college football. I'd always wanted to work at the NIH, and I actually cried on the phone when Human Resources called me and offered me the job. My team, we did so much great work, and over half of our team was cut.
For what? What'd you do?
Half of your team was cut. Yeah, what is this going to do to your life going forward?
This guy, like, he really cares.
I wish I had an answer for you.
She better get out and find another damn job.
I created a donation thing online asking people, random strangers, to please help me, because normally I, plan for things like this to potentially happen, but I went all in on this job and, wiped out my savings, maxed out my credit card, took out
all this sounds like smart fucking decisions.
a loan.
Loans, credit cards, savings, you just wiped yourself out to get fucked in the ass. I don't get it, y'all. You should always have a backup plan. No matter what the fuck is going on in life, always have a backup plan.
Because I thought that I never in a million years would have imagined that this would happen.
Well, that was your first fucking mistake, because you should already have a backup plan in case something don't work. If you're going to pack up and you're going to go and move, you better make sure that job's going to be there for a while, because shit like this happens and it makes no fucking sense to wipe out all your fucking money for a job. That just doesn't make any sense.
Have you thought about fighting the terminations at all?
And then to set up like a GoFundMe, nobody is going to give you money because you lost your job, lady. Because obviously, if your whole fucking department got fired, I'm pretty sure someone else has tried that. And with you fucking, you have no backup plan. It just blows my fucking mind. You wasted all of your savings. You took out loans and maxed out credit cards for a job. And then now you're asking for money. Well, you're asking for money to pay your bills, not to help you. The GoFundMe's for people that really need some service. You really don't need it. You need to get your ass out there and work something and pay that shit off like every other American's got to do. This shit pisses me off.
That's something I've been considering. And up until maybe today, I was really gung-ho about that because, I want my job. Like, I'm not trying to sue somebody to get compensation. I just want to go to work and contribute to education and outreach to help teachers and their students and help healthcare providers provide better patient care.
How in the fuck are you going to do that? You can't help people fucking provide better care. What the fuck? If the doctors ain't doing their job, you can't fucking make them.
But now I think I've kind of come to the realization today that I'm not going to get my job back. But there
It's
are
gone.
people that are still there.
Gone.
And so I want to organize folks that got fired and us fight back to get people to.
There is no fighting back, lady. It's over with. You lost your fucking job. Get over it. That happens to fucking many Americans every fucking day. And fighting the shit ain't even gonna work, because if you got fired and you were in a right to work state, you are finished.
To know what's going
They don't have to have a reason to fire your ass.
on there, hopefully, so that, hopefully Americans will reach out to their congressional leaders and they can stop any more people from getting terminated.
No.
I
Nobody's
know
gonna
that
do that.
there's probably no hope for me, but at least there's still good people there doing incredible work, and I want to keep them there if we can.
And Nate, what did that job mean to you?
It's a fucking job.
I mean, it was everything. You don't get,
This guy.
you don't live in the woods, remote from everywhere for nothing. You come here, people work.
Yeah, you could do that. You can sell your fucking house, buy a house out in the woods, and then you ain't gotta fucking worry about it. And then you can live your life like that.
Season after season to try parks out, remote living. We don't have contact. We don't have cell service in a lot of areas. We
Sounds horrible.
Or lose a lot of contact from our friends and families. But we're devoted to the mission of the park, being a part of the park, protecting the park, and the people that come here.
I don't even think it's about the park, dude. I just think you like being secluded from everybody.
It creates more. When I was a kid, it was some of the most magical moments ever, and even in my whole life, they've been magical moments. And I want to be a part of that and help the people fulfill that mission, because this is our public land, and it's part of the greatest things that makes America what it is that we have these special places that people come from around the world to come. They spend their money, they spend their vacations here, and I want to be here and take care of that place for them. I put all my eggs in this basket as well, and committed to living out here in California and in a remote location. And there's not many jobs out here. And I competed for this job. I knew that the previous guy was going to retire, and he had done 24 years of great service.
Well, guess what? I'm pretty sure someone with more experience have gotten the job. It's probably why you didn't get it.
And he always says, if you do a good job and you have a trade, you'll never go hungry, and you'll always have a job, especially with.
No, you don't never go hungry and always have a job to have a good job. You got to have a great fucking job. Not a good fucking job. You got to have a fucking great one.
The numbers of jobs that have been lost. I can't thank you enough for helping us understand the lives behind those
Try
numbers.
to find one more
every single
in
time
this,
we talk about this, I hope.
All right, I found one more. Let's watch this. I haven't seen this.
This image came to mind today. The White House undergoing a massive renovation in 1948.
Now, with a former real estate developer in the executive mansion, another teardown is underway in Washington and beyond, shaking the government as we've known it to its foundations.
Since the inauguration, President Trump has offered buyouts to 2 million federal workers, fired 16 inspectors general, and got rid of Justice.
Hey, to be honest, it's better to take the buyout to get fired. I'd rather take the buyout, get paid, and move on to my next job instead of fucking be fired. Fired at least 16 inspector generals. Well, what the fuck were they doing? Fired Justice Department officials. Well, we know a lot of them don't do shit.
Department officials who investigated him.
And he gave billionaire businessman Elon Musk.
Yeah, because they probably did it on a fraudulent fucking way.
Free rein to weed out what they see as waste and fraud. That included shutting down USAID.
A lot of people forget that Trump almost died. I don't know how they forgot, but this motherfucker almost died because these people did not want him in office because they knew what the fuck he was gonna do. They knew it. They little motherfuckers, man.
The agency that provides humanitarian aid overseas. Critics say what's being lost in this government makeover is oversight and expertise.
Margaret Brennan in Washington now. So, Margaret, where does it seem they're going with all of this?
Well, overnight, nearly all of the 10,000 USAID employees who work to feed the world, combat disease, and respond to disasters, they learned they'll be put on leave as of midnight on Friday. And while the first target is foreign aid, it makes up a very small fraction of the federal budget, less than 1%. But it may be a test case for what is coming to other parts of the federal government.
Let them work!
Let us work, they shouted.
Let us work!
Motherfucker, ain't nobody stopping you. Go to work. Go get another job until this shit's over with. Until you get fired.
Confused as to whether they'll even have health care or paychecks coming. We spoke with one of those individuals who has spent the past decade at USAID.
Why in our conversation do you think you need to remain anonymous?
Everyone is really scared. First, we were scared for our jobs. Then we were scared for...
Sorry, y'all. This motherfucker.
For the safety of our programs. I have a family, like most Americans, and I want to be brave, and I just don't want to put them at any more risk than I have to.
Elon Musk posted on X, USAID is a criminal organization. Time for it to die.
It probably
is. What did you
is.
think when you heard that?
He said that. He said we were vipers. He said that we were worms and not a bad apple, but just worms. He said that we are evil lunatics.
In recent days, the Trump-appointed chief of
Sticks and
staff
stones,
resigned,
yo.
and the two heads of security put on leave after they refused to let Doge-linked staffers access classified information.
I wonder why they didn't want them to access it, because these two motherfuckers knew that they were going to find shit and that their ass was going to be in trouble. That's why they try to stop them.
Are you still officially employed by the U.S. government?
I do not know what my status is.
This motherfucker is a liar, man. He's a fucking liar, and he's on the motherfucking blurred out fucking black screen because his ass don't want to get in trouble for fucking going on here talking shit.
Part of that is that what's been happening has been moving.
We don't even know if this motherfucker is a part of that fucking team. You can never trust fucking CBS and shit.
With incredible speed and also an incredible level of sloppiness.
The Trump administration argues the cuts will increase efficiency.
Probably will.
Not only have we abandoned our colleagues, which is an absolute...
Think about when your department, when you work, has too many fucking people. They usually get rid of some people because it's not unnecessary.
Moral atrocity. But we have abandoned our partners in the world. If you've ever seen those photos of people delivering bags of food or wearing the USAID vests or delivering medicines or the big trucks coming in with aid. It's got big USAID logos on it, right? It's got American for a reason. It's got American flags on it. It shows people.
It's got American flags on it and the USAID logo, and it's got a whole motherfucking shipment of condoms to fucking Gaza.
This is the U.S. coming to your aid.
Margaret, these cuts across the executive branch, to many people, it sounds like what Donald Trump promised, and now he's making good on that promise. But it's not about cuts, right? It's about the kinds of cuts.
Right. It's not what you're doing, it's how you do it. Efficiency, no one's going to argue against. But, John, it's hard to put a price on expertise and experience. And as skilled workers are either fired or take buyouts, that impacts the government's ability to respond to crises. That applies to buyouts over at the CIA, where it takes years to develop analysts and agents before sending them into the field, or when it comes to these development workers who go overseas to stem a TB or Ebola or polio outbreak before it gets to American shores. It impacts America's soft power ability to gain influence, not through force. And it leaves a vacuum for China, which is America's chief adversary, to potentially fill that void.
So, Margaret, when you say this could be a test case for other agencies, other larger agencies, how might that play out?
Well, you know, Maurice, one of the things that stands out here is the ripple effect, not just in terms of recipients of aid abroad who, you know, can't get their antiviral AIDS treatments, but here in the United States, a CEO of one of the aid groups told me that between 10 to 50,000 American jobs are expected to be cut across the U.S. in the coming weeks. Not government jobs, private sector jobs, as organizations go bankrupt. And keep in mind, the humanitarian world is not the only industry that is reliant on U.S. government spending.
CBS News has learned that President Trump is pausing all immigration applications filed by migrants from Ukraine and Latin America. The Department of Homeland Security told immigration reporter Camila Montoya Galvez that further vetting is needed.
And with cases already backed up, the president has fired 20 immigration judges. Jason Allen looks at the impact.
Sounds like they wasn't doing their job either.
We can't call you judge.
I don't think so. Not anymore. Ex-judge, I guess.
You're fully expecting.
I'm just below Carrie.
Carrie Doyle was expecting to become one of the country's next immigration judges, but she was fired the week before she was supposed to start hearing cases.
There are millions of these cases.
3.7.
They do need to have more judges, but they need to have the right judges. Sometimes you get people in that's going to be like, okay, yep, everybody can come here. As long as you come to me, we'll get you in here. And that's not how it should be.
Why you thought maybe I won't disappear.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was the thought. That was the hope.
Inside this unmarked building in a Boston suburb, Doyle would have heard cases for asylum, permanent residence, and removal, up to 700 a year.
So you just see people every day, all day, with these life and death decisions over whether they can remain in the United States or not, and then neutrally applying the law.
In Boston and other cities, those cases stacked up as southern border crossings surged. And while crossings have come down, the case numbers...
This shit always fucking pisses me off when I see these people carry little ass kids, man. Like, you put your kid through that much shit just to get here, man. That is fucking ridiculous, dude. It is so sad that you would put your kids through that shit.
Doyle said, we'll keep adding up. There are about 4 million outstanding cases right now.
Don't forget that cases come into the system not just from the border, but from the existing people that are in the United States. So as you ramp
you see that shit
up removal, they're getting put in front of the immigration judge. So that
see the way they make it look like they're just knocking on people's doors and arresting people. You see how they edit these videos to make it fucking look like that?
Caseload will balloon.
If the feds are coming after you, you've done something. It ain't like you're just working at the damn local McDonald's and shit.
He asked the Department of Justice why Doyle and other judges were terminated. A spokesperson declined to comment on personnel matters.
And yet, you expected this. In some sense.
I did, just because, we were sort of the last group coming in under the Biden administration.
Doyle had been an outspoken critic of the immigration system when she was an immigration attorney.
That's why she got fired.
It landed her on a conservative-backed group's watch list of political appointees.
I took an oath to uphold the Constitution and to do my job. I'm not there to be an advocate. That's what I used to do when I, was with the client in the courtroom.
That's why she got fired, y'all. She's got a bias.
From now, I'm the decision maker, and you need to listen to both sides, and you need to weigh the case under the law, and then act fairly to make decisions.
And Jason Allen joins us now. Jason, there's this backlog. So what is this going to do to the existing backlog of cases?
Well, it would take a lot to remove those, right? It takes a lot to become one of these judges. You'd have to have a law degree, 7 years of experience, right, to do this. The application process is long. It takes more than a year to get some of these judges into place. And there are some studies showing that we need as many as 300 new judges just to begin cutting into the backlog. That's a lot.
Quite a backlog. So how does this influence the judges who are already on the job, Jason?
That's interesting. I talked to the president of the union that represents these judges, and he's talked to some of them that are still in their seats right now. And he described it as some of them on pins and needles, wondering if they could be next. He also talked about a potential chilling effect because it opens the door to judges questioning their own decision making, wondering if their job could be at stake, and also a chilling effect in any others who might.
Well, if they're doing their job like they're supposed to and they're not doing shady shit, they shouldn't have anything to worry about.
Want to join the profession.
And quickly, Jason, what are any of these cases going to go away because Trump wants to deport?
No, he has expanded the criteria for expedited removal. That makes it easier to move some people out who have been here less than 2 years. But anybody who's been here more than 2 years still has constitutional protections. There are international obligations as well. They have to have a hearing so that they can make the case that they belong here.
President Trump today began the second month of his second term as head of the U.S. government, a government he is determined to shrink.
And he got some help today from a federal judge in Washington. The judge, an Obama appointee, refused to stop the president's mass firings of federal employees.
Oh, that ain't no fucking big news.
Unions representing those workers
that
must take their claims of wrongful firings to the Federal Labor Relations Authority. The chairwoman of that agency, a Biden appointee, is one of the people Mr. Trump fired.
Since the president was sworn in, he has taken aim at the federal workforce of 2.4 million and fired, laid off, or offered buyouts to untold thousands. And we say untold because the White House is not telling us exactly how many as the job cuts continue. But Weijia Jiang has been tracking down the jobs being eliminated. And Weijia, what have you found?
Well, we found that there is a group of more than 500,000 workers vulnerable to the administration's sweeping layoffs, and many serving key positions across the federal government. For some who have already lost their jobs, they're now desperately looking for answers. Why?
I'm really not sure what I'm going to do.
Katie Sandlin is still living out of box.
That's the same bitch in the last video. Is all they can do is bring up the same fucking people on all the news and say that these are thousands of fucking workers? This is the same fucking person. And you know what? I dare you motherfuckers to go back to the beginning. Where is it at? Where is it? This motherfucker right here. She's got the same motherfucking sweater on. You could tell this person's wearing a sweater. It might be all black, but you could see her hair hanging down from the back of her ears, and then it's the same type of fucking sweater. Look at the fuzz. Go back in the video and see if I ain't lying. This is the same motherfucking person.
Boxes after uprooting her life in
The one that was saying that she wanted to start like a GoFundMe because she lost her job. I can't. This is a totally different fucking news station, and they're still talking about the same fucking shit.
Carbon Hill, Alabama last month, a town of 2,000, to work at the National Institutes of Health outside Washington, D.C.
I wiped out my savings.
Here we go again.
Account. I maxed out my credit card. I had to take out a loan.
But she...
Stupid. Fucking stupid. Fucking stupid, people.
Called her job an opportunity of a lifetime, educating communities.
Yeah, look, it's the same bitch. I told you guys.
About NIH research.
People like me, where I'm from, rural Alabama, like these kind of jobs don't happen to people like me.
3 weeks.
She's just going from news station to news station saying the same shit. She's trying to get that GoFundMe to fucking come through.
Later, Sandlin.
She could pay her bills. I guarantee she didn't pay just for fucking her move. I guarantee that she fucking paid for other shit too. Look at all the shit she's got.
Became one of thousands of federal probationary workers to be fired. They had less than 1, or in some cases, less than 2 years of experience, and fewer protections from layoffs, making them easier to terminate.
Now I'm unemployed, I have a ton of debt, and I'm also losing my health insurance.
Did it ever cross your mind
Welcome to motherfucking America.
that you could be fired in a second?
That part actually never crossed my mind.
That was your first fucking mistake, you stupid motherfucker.
Did your supervisor give you a reason for why you were getting fired?
They made it clear that I was not being terminated because of anything that I had done.
An HHS official sent Sandlin a letter saying your performance has not been adequate to justify.
Well, it looks like it wasn't adequate. Look, she got fired on January 12th. Oh, they appointed her the position on January 12th. So that was part of the hiring process.
Justify further employment at the agency.
When I got it really upset me because it felt like it wasn't truthful. My boss, her boss, and even his boss all said that that was not true.
Our CBS News data team found that at the Veterans Health Administration, which implements the health care program for vets, probationary workers account for 30% of the staff. At the Department of Agriculture, it's 19% of the branch that performs food safety inspections.
Well, motherfucker, they're not even doing their damn job to begin with. Look on the fucking news of how much shit's recalled every fucking day. From candy to chips to food coloring. It's fucking ridiculous. Why the fuck are bananas and motherfucking lettuce and shit have these diseases if these motherfuckers are inspecting them? How come they're not catching them before they're getting to the fucking stores and shit? What the fuck is going on?
When it comes to air safety,
Don't get me fucking started on air safety with all these fucking plane crashes that's been happening over the last couple of weeks. These motherfuckers ain't doing their jobs either. They're not inspecting these fucking planes, right?
1/3 of the TSA may be impacted. So far, 2,000 probationary workers at NIH have lost their jobs.
What does the public stand to lose with these widespread layoffs?
We are important and we do important work.
What do you
We're
do?
impactful. And
What do you do?
if you have questions or concerns about federal workers, ask one.
I want to know what she does. What were you doing? I'm asking you now. What were you doing? What was your fucking position? You go on all these fucking news stations, but you don't say what the fuck you were actually doing.
Weijia joins us now from the White House. Weijia, what does Katie do now?
She goes looks for a motherfucking job like everybody else has got to do.
She says she can't afford to move back to Alabama after shelling out so much money to move here to the
That was
D.C. area.
stupid.
So she's focused on looking for a new job. But she points out how daunting that is, considering there are now thousands of federal workers in the same boat who are competing for those positions.
Better go to fucking
You
McDonald's.
showed us how many probationary workers are potentially vulnerable. Do we have any sense of any of them ending up like Katie? Like how many that could amount to?
Well, just because they are probationary workers does not mean they will automatically be fired. In fact, depending on the agency, some are considered critical, and so they have exemptions. And remember, they can only be fired for poor performance or misconduct. In Katie's case, she says it was neither. So, John, that lawsuit you mentioned is just one of several.
She was in a probation period, though. That's not guaranteed a job. This dumbass left her whole fucking life for a fucking job, for a probation period job. I guarantee I wouldn't fucking do that. I wouldn't take the risk not knowing that if I'm going to have a fucking job at the end of the probation period, that I'm going to be fucking stuck. She'd have been better off staying in her own fucking home, renting a fucking hotel or something. Then she wouldn't have had to spend all that fucking money and savings and loans and credit cards. Fucking ridiculous.
Including class action lawsuits in the works.
The cuts keep coming. Now President Trump is eliminating more than
On the next day of the news.
6,700 jobs at the Internal Revenue Service, the agency that collects 96% of the money that funds the federal government.
And he's doing this at the height of tax season, when Americans are checking their mailboxes for the W-2s and 1099s they need to fill out their 1040s.
And here's another number for you, 800-829-1040. That is the number many taxpayers will be calling to reach the IRS for help. And
yeah, they fired everybody, so they have to fucking send them to the call center.
Hoping they'll reach an experienced agent to answer their questions.
Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes looks tonight at the impact of the IRS cuts on the workers and on Americans who depend on them. Nancy?
Are we going to get another
the cuts
one?
this week amount to about 6 to 8%
be
of
this
the
Kenny bitch
IRS
again?
workforce, and sources tell us they don't believe these cuts are over yet. It's a sharp
No, it's
reversal
gonna keep
for an
coming.
agency that spent the past 2 years aggressively trying to boost staffing to become more responsive to taxpayers.
I always knew I wanted to work for the IRS. This was my dream job.
Today was day one of Elizabeth Caron's job search.
I don't believe this is her house.
The
She ain't got no
22-year-old from
fucking
New Orleans was
furniture or
let go
anything in that
yesterday
damn
after
kitchen.
just 6 months at the IRS.
She got no
where she
appliances.
worked as an auditor on high-income tax returns.
She was an auditor.
We were already really needing more employees to handle the cases that we already had.
CBS News obtained an
Yeah, that's what every job needs. There just ain't enough funding for enough people.
email that was sent to IRS.
All right, what does it say? We are directing you to come into our office tomorrow and Friday. Any previously approved leave is canceled. When you come in, bring any government-issued equipment, PIV and access cards, pocket commissions, travel cards, parking permit, and paper case files. We understand that coming in on short notice may be an inconvenience, and we truly appreciate your flexibility. If you have any scheduling conflicts, reach out to your manager as soon as possible so we can work with you. Under an executive order, IRS has been directed to terminate probationary employees who were not deemed as a critical to filing season. We do not have many details that we are permitted to share, but this is all tied to compliance with the executive order. Thank you for your cooperation. So clearly on this, it does show the probationary period, people who are being basically let go if they're not deemed crucial. So that would make sense, because if it's not necessity or necessary to have that particular person, then why keep them at this time?
Workers
and this was on the 19th. And look, she got it at 3:39, not almost 5 o'clock when they were getting off.
Week. It said those being fired were newer probationary employees who were not deemed as critical to filing season.
What do we know about the people who are being let go?
I'm
They ain't got no
hearing that
damn
it is
job.
across all functions. So it includes people who provide taxpayer services and answers the phones.
Lily Batchelder
The
is a
call
tax
centers.
policy expert and served as an assistant Treasury secretary under President Biden.
I just don't see how, when you suddenly fire thousands of employees in the middle of the filing season, that is not going to put the filing season at risk.
Administration
But most
officials
of them are
say
new
in
employees.
any operation that is in debt, you would look to cut costs and lay off workers. Why isn't that a valid approach in this case?
Well, first of all, the IRS actually brings in revenue. So for every dollar that you invest in the IRS, it reduces budget deficits by $6.
Kevin Hassett, one of President Trump's top economic advisors, told reporters at the White House that all the federal job cuts will make agencies more efficient.
Nobody's going to the buildings. People aren't commuting because nobody's doing their job.
So you're saying that everybody who's being let go was doing a bad job?
I'm saying that
They
we're
wasn't going to work.
studying every agency and deciding who to let go and why. And we're doing so very rationally with a lot of support from
I guarantee it was probably a lot of work from home.
analysis.
I asked him about the many fired workers who, like Caron, say they have
Look, she has nothing in her fucking kitchen.
no record of poor performance.
Yeah, I've never seen a person who was laid off for poor performance say that they were performing poorly.
Those statements are honestly an insult to me. Absolutely. Like,
You got a new job. You wasn't fully an employee yet, and they let you go. Shit happens. Get a new fucking job. Look, she does got a little bit of furniture in the back, y'all.
I'm getting choked up thinking about that because that's offensive to me.
So, Nancy, here we are in tax season. What kind of impact do we expect these cuts to have on the taxpayers?
Well, in the short term, Maurice, we'll probably see fewer audits of wealthy individuals and small businesses. Those audits bring in a lot of revenue. You could also start to see wait times to get someone on the phone begin to inch back up. They had come down pretty precipitously since 2022 when Congress passed $80 billion in additional funds to help the IRS modernize and hire more workers. Those are the very new workers who are now being shown the door.
See, they're new workers that are doing that. They're the new workers that are getting let go. It's not like people that's been there for years that are worrying right now. It's the people that are just starting. A lot of this situation, I mean, hey, it's fucked up in my honest opinion. Get the fuck over it, because at the end of the motherfucking day, an employer does not have to keep you. And that's the sad truth. I think that they shouldn't be like that, that they should have a reason if they're going to fire you. That's all jobs, even in the right to work states. I believe that they should have a reason, a valid reason that you are being let go. So, with this situation so far, it's the people that are just getting hired that are not necessary. And what do you expect? They're bringing the same people on all the fucking news channels and just repeating the same thing. The same fucking thing over and over and over again.
Well,
that's what they do. They do this shit all the time to people, and I mean, what are you supposed to do? At the end of the day, you need to go get another job. You need to figure it out and move on, just like everybody else has to do in this world. That's a part of life. Just because you have a job doesn't mean you're going to have it forever. And you got to understand that if you're not going to have it forever, then you just need to fucking move on.